And hello and good evening to you. Welcome to Newsroom Live on this Tuesday evening, 7:02 tonight. I'm your host, Teresa Priolo. You are watching right now live a float that it's making its way through Harlem right now. It's on 125th Street, and as I understand it, we are headed toward Hancock Plaza. The arm that you see on the side of your screen happens to be that of our Kendall Green, who will be bringing us a live report of this in just a little bit. Very, very exciting, though. This officially kicks off the holiday season in Harlem. We're going to hear all about the different floats that they have. There's about 20 of them in all. Really an exciting night. And we were listening in before, very festive. So that's what we want to see. Hello to you, and thank you for being with us tonight. Man, it has been a busy day, not only here in the city, but also in Washington. So we're going to go through some of your headlines tonight, and then we have some live reports coming up from not only our Sharon Crowley, who's going to talk to us a little bit about the goings-on in D.C., but we've got some really interesting things coming up with a OBGYN who's going to talk to us about the Black maternal health crisis. Going to check your forecast. We got a lot going on. So let's just get to it, get right to D.C. And I believe we can show a shot of the Capitol right now. Brian is on the switcher for us tonight, and he is going to show you a shot of the Capitol. We're looking at the Capitol because just a short time ago, the House and the Senate unanimously agreed on a bill forcing the Justice Department to release all of its files relating to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. House passed it 427-1. Sharon Crowley is going to break all of this down for you, and there is a lot to talk about when it comes to Epstein, his connection to the president, what the president had to say about this, and then, of course, what some of our lawmakers had to say as well. Also happening in Washington today, the Saudi Crown Prince is there as well, meeting with the president. This is pretty monumental. This is the first visit since the killing of Jamal Khashoggi back in 2018. The president giving him the warmest of warm welcomes, with not only the U.S. Marine Band playing, but a military flyover. And so a lot happening here, and a lot of news coming out of the sit down between these two together. As a matter of fact, we have some sound of that. Brian, let's play that for everybody.
Mr. President.
I feel painful about, the families of...
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you?
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the
But the
worst.
question is
One of the
legitimate,
worst
sir.
in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Just you ask, Mr. President, if you allow me to answer. I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America. But, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for, no real purpose or nothing illegal way, and it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc., in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that, and it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Really interesting stuff there. When President Trump was asked about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, he said, quote, "These things happen." And he is facing quite a bit of criticism as a result, not only for his comments, but also hosting the Saudi Crown Prince as well. We will be, let's go to a live shot of the White House right now, if we can just show it up here, Brian, on ELC2. We're going to be following this live look here because there's a state dinner tonight. It's not an official state dinner, because official state visit rather, because he is not officially a head of state. However, there is a state dinner happening at the White House today, and we're going to take that for you live just as soon as it starts. It's supposed to start at 7:15, but these things usually run late. All right, moving on to some other news of the day. Let's take you to Newark, where there is a memorial that is taking place tonight to honor the victims of the shooting that occurred over the weekend. It is planned for this evening, not only for the 10-year-old boy who was killed, but also for the 21-year-old that was killed as well. Jordan Garcia killed Saturday night when gunfire erupted near the corner of Chancellor Avenue and Leslie Street in Newark. Another woman was killed, and 3 others, including Garcia's 11-year-old brother, shot as well. Loved ones as well as community leaders there will be gathering. They're releasing those balloons, as you saw, and they're really just trying to remember those that lost their lives in this senseless violence. A $10,000 reward also being offered for any information leading to an arrest in that deadly shootout that occurred. And lastly, we're going to talk about Roblox. So many kids play Roblox, are invested in Roblox, but there are some real concerns about safety online with kids when it comes to this. So Roblox today releasing new rules requiring users to verify their age using a government ID or any sort of video selfie via AI to access any sort of chat features. They feel like once they do this, you're then going to be placed in an age-specific group, and they hope that this cuts down on some of the things that we have seen in these chats that have led to unsafe conditions for kids and teens as they dig deeper and deeper into these games. Yeah, that's right. I'm looking up here at that live look from Kendall's remote of the holiday. We are gonna lose our pen, and then we are gonna check in with Kendall in a little bit. We're gonna take a break. Stay with us. We're coming back right after this.
Let's look at the parade.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
All right, you're looking live at a SpaceX launch that is occurring in Florida as well. It looks like they are just about to take off. Everything on the launch pad there.
Chief engineer in consultation
Let's listen
with
in
the
for a
launch
little
director.
bit. They're talking.
Go for launch.
What we're hearing is that this is the 12th flight for the first stage booster supporting this mission. Firefly Blue Ghost Mission 1, and it's a Starlink mission. And that's what they tell us on their website, which has so many numbers and codes on it. Only an engineer or a rocket scientist would be able to figure it out.
10,
I think we're at 9.
8,
Yep, here we go.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. Lift off. Go SpaceX. Go Starlink.
M1D chamber pressures are nominal.
Falcon is pitching downrange.
Very cool. All right. Up goes the Starlink. Up goes the spaceship. And in comes Sharon Crowley to talk.
Hello. That is so cool. That never gets old. And
I know.
I think they improve our satellite technology. It's amazing.
Is that the SpaceX launch that you wanted like a week ago?
Yes, I wanted it a week ago. I wanted it on Friday. I was like looking down in Florida and hoping so desperately that on my Friday night live now,
Newsroom
streaming
live,
show,
yeah,
Streaming with Sharon Unscripted. Now you're with Teresa, Tri-Casting with Teresa. No, I was hoping that we would get that, but we didn't. But then
we got it, and you get it by default because you're here.
That's fine.
So it's fine.
All good.
So I think this means that we get better internet access. I think that's what that means.
That's what it means. Sounds like it.
Boy, oh boy, you got stuck on the busiest story of the day.
I did.
Everybody is talking about, well, all eyes are on D.C., and everybody is talking about not only happened at the White House with the Saudi prince, but what happened in Congress today. Let's bring up a live look of the Capitol building with the Epstein files. This has been a slow burn.
It sure has.
For quite a while.
Finally, it looked like the Trump administration, the President Trump himself, saw that the Republicans were behind this. Is bipartisan, Democrats and Republicans. And, of course, all the survivors of Jeffrey Epstein wanted these files released. They were not satisfied. And he finally, reversed his position just a couple of days ago and said, Teresa, you know what? Go ahead and do it. Now, he has the authority to release them himself immediately, but instead it went through Congress, it went through the House pretty quickly, and the Senate didn't even have a floor vote. They just moved it forward, so we're waiting on the president to sign it tonight. However, before I tell you what happens next, because we may not see those files right away for a variety of complicated reasons, let's hear President Trump in the Oval Office today. He was asked about Epstein.
As far as the Epstein files I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me. But he gave money to Democrats.
This has been such an interesting story to follow. A MAGA diehard Marjorie Taylor Greene, a Republican, a staunch supporter of President Trump, really siding with the survivors on this one, demanding that all the names, everything be redacted and released. But there's a problem with that. And we heard Speaker Johnson say on this morning on the House floor as he was getting prepared to vote yes to go ahead and release those files, Teresa, that because of grand jury testimony, because of witnesses who did not want their identities to be revealed, there could be a number of names and items redacted from these documents when they are released and from the Department of Justice. And that could take a long time to go through all these thousands of pages that the FBI has and, other departments. And that doesn't mean just because it goes to the president's desk and he signs it that all of a sudden tomorrow morning we're going to see everything everybody wanted to see, because there are survivors of abuse that do not want their names out there.
What's interesting to me about this story is that Democrats and Republicans right now agree on literally nothing.
Yeah.
They agree on this. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you look at the House numbers today, would you say 427 to 1?
Yes.
Was that an abstention or did somebody actually vote no?
Somebody voted no, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so we got one no vote, 427 yeses.
Yes, I just think that the momentum for this, but really this goes back to, decades, and many administrations, I should say, had this information. And of course, Jeffrey Epstein, as we know, committed suicide in a New York jail when he was ultimately charged with these crimes and had an Upper East Side penthouse. And I'm sure you're all familiar with it, but Ghislaine Maxwell is doing time right now. And one of their MOs, if you will, is they would recruit young high school aged women, and so as not to appear suspicious, so the accusations go, Ghislaine Maxwell would tell the young women, incentivize them to go and get their other friends, so that they used their
and they would
alleged
work.
victims.
They would work for him.
Yes, they would work for him, and they would promise these young women money, and many of these young women were not women of means. And this is a story that happens down in Palm Beach and here in the Upper East Side of New York. And he had islands and and an airplane and all kinds of stuff, that are accusations against him. Of course, we'll never hear the full story from Jeffrey Epstein because he killed himself in a Lower Manhattan jail.
But what's interesting about Ghislaine is last night we were talking to David Birdsell of Keene University, and he was saying that she was just transferred to a lower security prison, and there are rumors that she is petitioning the Trump White House for a pardon.
Yeah, I think she absolutely is petitioning the Trump White House for a pardon, and the President Trump has been asked about this many times and hasn't ruled it out definitively. But, his supporters, along with Democrats, I think would just find this to be outrageous because Ghislaine Maxwell, may have a harsher sentence than others accused of similar crimes. Mm-hmm. But without Epstein living with us and facing justice, I think the publicity and the optics of it all would just be horrendous for the Trump administration to do.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we also heard from Epstein survivors today, some of whom voted for Trump.
Yes.
And they said, we are a supporter of yours, Mr. President.
And there they are on Capitol Hill with candles after the House vote and the Senate vote today. I think this woman speaking right now, she found out just as they were speaking that the Senate was finally going to go to the president's desk. And he did say, we should tell our viewers, that he is going to sign this for it to be released. The thing about it is, I'm not an attorney, but it could take some time before we actually see all these documents. And as the president has said himself, it's never going to be enough. It's like one of those things, the Kennedy assassination, it's never going to be enough. People are never going to be satisfied. But certainly we hope it brings some relief to some of these survivors of Epstein.
I just hope whatever we get, it's not completely redacted.
Yeah.
I mean, because that doesn't help anybody to just have
Right. There are a lot of high-profile
pages.
names, and we've already seen the fallout. A number of people, Larry, Summers and other high-profile names are already getting blowback for even being associated with Epstein and being mentioned in these files that have already come out. So it's not going away.
No.
But I think President Trump was hopeful to do this because, as in his own words, and what he said yesterday, was that he is trying to tout the accomplishments of his administration, and this is just an enormous distraction. And he could see that Republicans were not with him on this.
Not only getting blowback, but also. Sharon, thank you. We know that you're doing this story for our 10 o'clock news
I
tonight.
am. I'm working on it tonight. I hope you'll tune in at 10 o'clock tonight on Channel 5.
You get the 2 version at 10 and the 20 version on
That's
Newsroom
right.
Live.
That's right.
All right, Sharon, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank
We're going to
you.
take a live look. We are going to be checking in with Kendall Green in just a little bit, but he's on a float, traveling around
Be
Harlem.
careful.
Oh, look
Where
at that
is
girl
he?
dancing.
Oh, there we go.
And look at that car. Wait, are they Mario and Luigi characters?
Oh,
Yes,
the green and the
look
red.
at
There you go.
that. I don't think
Nice.
that's safe to drive with your eyes covered like that, but who
All
am
right,
I?
go slow.
We're going to check in with Kendall in just a little bit. Stay with us here on Newsroom
Looks
Live.
like Halloween, but we're getting ready for Christmas.
you're looking for a party tonight, I know where you can find one, and it's with this one right here in Harlem. Happening now in Newsroom Live. That's our Kendall Green with the biggest smile. I haven't seen a smile that big in quite a long time.
That's because it's the holiday time, seriously. It's the
That's
holiday
right,
time.
it is.
Well, you can't help but feel it here.
Kendall, where are you? You're on 118th Street, is that right?
I'm lost in a good time. That's where I am. I'm on 132nd and Adam Clayton Boulevard. We're making a turn, and I got a friend who's going to show me the proper way, float etiquette, if you would say. We're going to throw one of these beautiful Apollo shirts. I'm here with the historic Apollo Theater here for their float, but she's going to show me how to get this to folks in the crowd right here. So show me the proper. We're going to go right there. We're going to get to there. Show me the proper. Okay.
And you kind of toss it, it's on the swing.
Toss it gently. Okay. All right. Here we go. Gently. I hope they see it. We landed it. I think we did good. But man, these folks are having a good time, Teresa. I've been here maybe a couple hours, just watching the preps for the parade, and it was almost just as exciting as the parade itself. But since we've been on this float, we've been seeing like these folks have been giving a lot of energy. This guy's been singing his tail off on the float as well. And you feel that energy. You feel it coming back. I mean, it's an exciting time. I'm gonna have Keith just show you the crowd. Like, I mean, you see, we're having a good time here, but Keith, you swing around and show this beautiful crowd. Look at these folks. I mean, if you're looking at this and you can't get the Christmas spirit or holiday spirit, whatever it is you celebrate, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, it's a great time here. And this float has been, I mean, they've been putting out a whole lot of energy, a lot of good songs, and I think I'm gonna try to throw a few more things out here because I'm learning how to do this the right way. You know what I'm saying?
Kendall, while you're throwing t-shirts, let's set the scene a little bit because you're having a lot of fun on the Apollo float, but people might not know how you found your way to an Apollo float. This is the Harlem Holiday Lights, is that right?
It's the Harlem Holiday Lights. It's the parade that kicks Harlem into the holidays. And how we got to the Apollo float is our wonderful desk. They coordinated helping us get onto this float just to show the parade from this vantage point. And it's been exciting. I mean, they've been doing a bunch of different songs, a bunch of different music. But I mean, we've been enjoying the parade so far.
All right, Kendall, stick with us because I want to talk to some of the people that you're with in a little bit. But as a musician, I'm sure it's pretty cool for you to be able to be with all those folks from the Apollo. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and join you again. Stay with us. And good evening to you. Creeping up on 7:30 on this Tuesday, November the 18th. You are in our newsroom. This is Newsroom Live here on Fox 5. We got Brian on the, what do we call that? TriCast board. He's our board guy. And we are working on a number of different stories here tonight that have been making headlines throughout the day. In just a little bit, we're going to check back in with our Kendall Green in just a minute. He is on a float, the Apollo float for the Harlem Holiday Lights. So we're going to check in with him in a little bit. He is still smiling. If you were joining us a couple minutes ago, smile from ear to ear. It has only gotten bigger. But there are a number of headlines that we have our eye trained on today. First of all, we are waiting for the state dinner to begin at the White House. President Trump is hosting Saudi Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. And so that is something that everybody's going to be looking to see who attends, what happens, and if any news comes from that event. That was a very big deal that occurred at the White House today. The big story, perhaps, that everybody's talking about today is, in fact, the Epstein files. Why? Because both houses unanimously agreeing on a bill forcing the Justice Department to release all of the files relating to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. As we like to say, you know, Democrats and Republicans agree on pretty much nothing these days, but they agree on this. The House vote was 427 to 1, and the Senate also got this through swiftly. The president says that he, as soon as this bill gets to his desk, he is in fact going to sign it. But there has been a lot of controversy, as you well know, surrounding the release of the Epstein files. The Speaker of the House tried to block this from coming to a vote. It did not happen. The president also basically said, I'm paraphrasing, we should all move on. That did not happen. Specifically when members of his own party started to push back. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was once very close with the president, saying you must release the files. You campaigned on releasing the files. It is time to release the files. And so we got a portion of those emails last week from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, and now we are expecting quite a download of files coming in the wake of this bipartisan unilateral vote. We have some sound as well on the story that we were talking about earlier, which happens to be the Saudi Crown Prince, because while the House and the Senate were voting, the president was meeting with the Crown Prince, and they talked about everything from Saudi Arabia being behind the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi to Saudi Arabia's involvement in 9/11. Let's take a listen to that.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question.
Thank you.
I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
Okay, just you ask, Mr. President, if you allow me to answer. You know, I feel painful about, the families of 9/11 in America, but, we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation. That's the purpose of 9/11. So whoever buying that means they are helping Osama bin Laden's purpose of destroying this relation. He knows that strong relation between America and Saudi Arabia, it's bad for extremism, it's bad for terrorism. And we have to approve him wrong and to build our relation, to continue developing our relation. It's critical in the safety of the world. It's critical against extremism and terrorism. About the journalists, it's really painful to hear, anyone that been losing his life for no real purpose or not in a legal way, and it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc. in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that, and it's painful and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, when the president was asked about that, he said of the killing of Khashoggi, things happen. He also said that he was very proud of the job that the Crown Prince has done. What he has done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else. All of this coming ahead of the Prince's arrival. The president announced that he has agreed to sell Saudi's F-35 fighter jets. So there is obviously a business interest there between the two countries. Now, this arrival with all the pomp and circumstance had a Marine band, had a military flyover. And you might be thinking, well, this really sounds like a state visit. Well, it's not technically a state visit because the Crown Prince is not technically head of state. His dad is, but he has basically taken over the day-to-day governing for his father, who has had significant health challenges over the last few years. We are waiting to see what comes of that state dinner. It was supposed to begin at 7:15. They haven't started yet. If they have, they're not showing it. So we're watching that closely to make sure that we can bring that to you. As we understand it, the First Lady, the Crown Prince, the President's going to be there. Cristiano Ronaldo will be there and a few other celebrities as well. So we'll bring you that when it happens. All right, let's check back in with Kendall Green because Kendall is on a float right now. He lost a smile, which means that took too long to get to Kendall. Let's get back to him. He is handling the Harlem Holiday Lights tonight. A really exciting event, 20 floats in all, and you picked Apollo. So tell us a little bit about it, and then let's meet some of your friends.
You just talk to us about putting this boat together, being the Grand Marshal of the parade. How excited has it been for you?
It's just a tremendous honor to be named the only institution to be Grand Marshal of the Harlem Holiday Lights Parade. The Apollo is honored, and it's been an extraordinary partnership with the 125th bid and Barbara Askins, the president and CEO, and the entire community of Harlem. So we're just so grateful to be here and to be a part of this amazing experience.
And I gotta ask you, what's been your favorite part tonight so far?
It's the people, it's the community, it's the energy, it's everyone. It's giving so much love, and really that is what Apollo is. Apollo is home, Apollo is family, Harlem is home. It's a community of giving and togetherness, and that's what the holiday season is really all about.
I'm going to work in Ms. Pat Soller. You're one of the board members of Apollo. This is great visibility, definitely great engagement for the community. Talk to us about what it means to be a part of this holiday and spreading the Christmas cheer, Hanukkah cheer, all of that.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about the cheer. So I live in Harlem, raising my family here, just a few blocks south of the Apollo Theater. And you know what? We always talk about our 3 C's, right? Culture, community, and connection. And you're seeing it all out here in space tonight. The Apollo Theater represents that more than anybody. And I'm just so delighted to be able to be out here. Even the weather is great, right? It's a great night for a parade.
We got to thank Nick Gregory and Lynn for that. But so just talk to me about what your favorite part of the parade is. Is it throwing the t-shirts and beanies, or is it the joy you get from people watching?
Yeah, I think it's the joy from seeing the people, right? I mean, it's like these people could be doing anything at all on tonight. But instead, they're coming out here, they're waving, they've got lights, they're clapping, they're cheering, they're dancing. It just says how much they love Harlem and how much they love the Apollo Theater.
Is this your favorite parade of the year, or is it up there?
Yeah, oh yeah, no, this is great. It's nothing any better than this.
Okay, so rapid fire. Describe the feeling you get when you're out here. 3 words only, go.
Culture, community, connections. That's the theme of this experience.
No, it doesn't. That's it. It's family. It's community. It's being together.
Okay, we've been having. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all so much. We've been having a good time, Teresa. But if this guy, he's been doing this thing. I mean, singing. It's like we're getting a concert at the same time on the parade. Been a little dancing going on here as well. But like the lady just mentioned, seeing the folks along the parade route, just watching how much joy they get from it. You can't get in the holiday spirit. I mean, again, I don't know what to tell you.
There's no keyboard around? They're not letting you near it?
Not yet. We're going to set that up for next year.
That's year 2. That's next year. You warm them up this year. Next year, you ask if you can take over.
As they used to say, put me on the program. Put me on the program a little bit. Yeah.
That's right, Kendall. All right, Kendall, you have a full wrap coming up at 10 o'clock, as I understand.
Of course. All the sights and sounds you can imagine from this holiday parade. That's going to come up at 10 o'clock.
All right, Kendall, greatly appreciate it. Thank everybody, please, for joining us tonight in Newsroom Live.
I will. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you soon. And that was Kendall Green in Harlem for the Harlem Holiday Lights. All right, we are going to head to break, but before we do, we're going to check out that state dinner that we were talking about with the Saudi Crown Prince. Looks like they are seated in a very opulent East Wing, I believe, of the White House. All right, we're going to check in with this in a little bit as they continue to dine and talk and, I don't know, make news, I'm sure. We'll be back right after this. Stay with us. You're watching Newsroom Live. And welcome back to Newsroom Live. I'm your host tonight, Teresa Priolo. You are looking live at the White House. That is Vice President J.D. Vance and his wife, Usha Vance. They are there for Speaker Mike Johnson as well, who has had quite a busy day. They are there for the state visit of the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of Saudi Arabia. He is in town not only to discuss a new deal with the president, the Trump administration, regarding F-35 fighter jets, but also they made a lot of news in the White House today talking about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, talking about 9/11 families being outraged that he is there. But they are rolling out the red carpet for him. Some celebrities are there. We saw Cristiano Ronaldo. He's apparently there. We saw a quick shot of Elon Musk. And so they are dining and likely strategizing, whatever that might mean for them. Bringing it back here live, let me bring in Nick Gregory, who has some information to tell us tonight. Hi, Nick. Let me get a mic on you while you mic up.
All right.
We have to talk to you about the forecast.
Always.
Today, to me, I mean, what do I know? I know nothing. But today felt so much more mild.
Because what was missing today?
Wind.
There you go. You paid attention.
Sometimes
yes,
I do.
That's
Sometimes
good.
I do. I never paid attention in science class, but when you speak, I know to listen.
There you go. So you're the one person that listens. Okay.
You got one. Okay.
Actually, we're going to need the maps on the right side of. That's the one.
So that wind was part of you were saying last night, there was a front that came through.
Well, we had a storm that was up in Canada. You can still kind of see it up there now by Newfoundland.
Okay.
Right? And there was sort of a ridge of high pressure. So the air kind of moves between those two. Think of air being squeezed between two buildings. What happens? It speeds up, right?
Right.
Well, that's what happened. So the air was getting squeezed between those two pressure systems.
Got
and
it.
so we had those 45-mile-per-hour winds. But today was a lot better. So that was
Yeah.
good.
I mean, an all-around bad hair day, honestly.
Well, I don't have to worry too much
Yeah,
about
but
that anymore. But
well, but for the rest of us.
yes, well, that's true.
Yeah.
So that was better today. I mean, it was still, we didn't get out of the 40s though, right? So
No,
it's
it was
still-
cold, but
yeah.
it just felt like it was a noticeable shift without that wind. That's how I
Yes.
thought as well. All right, so what are we going to see temperature-wise, and then what about any sort of rain or anything like that in the forecast?
Well, look at that. We just popped up. You
Ask
said
and you
rain.
shall receive.
So this is overnight. So we got a little system move to our south. So we're on the northern edge of it. So I mean, this one computer model is giving us from 0.15 of an inch to about 1/3 of an inch of rain. That's a possibility. The other possibility, though,
I don't even say it.
Oh,
Don't
I'm going to
say
say
it.
it is up north because look at the temperatures here. The overnight lows: 30 there in Sussex, 28 Poughkeepsie, White Plains 33. So I think there will be some wet snow mixing with the rain, and it might leave a coating up to an inch in a few spots, particularly say North Jersey over to the Poconos, and just maybe a little coating in parts of northern Westchester. The rest of the year is just going to see rain because we're into the 30s. And then tomorrow that rain still lingers till about 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and then the sun comes out for tomorrow afternoon. But notice again, we're still below where we should be, right? Only in the upper 40s. We should be in the lower 50s for high temperatures. We'll get back there on Friday into the weekend, though.
Okay, serious, uninformed question. What's the difference between wet snow and dry snow?
So
Isn't
the
snow
moisture
wet?
No. See now, let's okay. This will be the snow anatomy.
Okay.
So the actual snowflake itself, right, is if you were to melt it down,
Yeah.
right, it would be you would measure how much moisture was
That's
in
wet.
that particular snowflake,
Yeah.
right? So you probably have heard us say on the air that we get an inch of rain is 10 inches of snow.
Right. Yes, I have heard that.
That's on average, right? But if it's a drier snow, meaning more fluffy, more powdery.
So less
it doesn't-
moisture content.
Correct. Now you have maybe an inch of rain gives 15 inches of snow.
Oh.
Now, if it's a wetter snow, meaning that more moisture in the flake, now you would say 1 inch of snow, 1 inch of rain will only give 5 inches of snow. So there's the difference, right? It's really the components of moisture that makes up that snowflake.
And it is not directly correlated in any way to the temperature?
It is to the temperature of where it's sort of formed, right? Where the atmosphere and where it comes down. So.
Very interesting. Also very interesting, Nick. I started
something
hearing
to
some
look at.
music coming through
Oh, that's
because the
something.
president is walking in. We're watching this. President and First Lady Melania Trump walking into the dinner tonight in the East Wing of the White House, to the state visit, and there, of course, is the Saudi Crown Prince as well. Nick, we're going to listen in for just a little bit while
Sure.
the president speaks.
Thank you. What an honor. Well, this is a very special occasion, and it is indeed my honor to welcome to the White House a great friend and a man of leadership, vision, courage, and strength, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we had a big day today, a very big day for both countries. We've gotten to know each other well over the years, and he has become a true partner for peace and prosperity for our countries and for the world and for peace in the Middle East, which was a crowning achievement for both of us. And I just want to say that Crown Prince Mohammed, we're delighted to have you with us at the White House. Very special, very, very special. I'd like to also express my gratitude to our wonderful First Lady for organizing this beautiful evening. She worked hard on it. Thank you very much, Melania. Thank you. And we're pleased to be joined as well by Vice President J.D. Vance and his magnificent wife, Usha. Thank you. Thank you, J.D. Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and his wife, Kelly. Thank you, Mike, wherever you may be. Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Princess Rima. Thank you, Princess Rima. Such an incredible representative of your country. And you really are. We really appreciate it. Great job you do. And members of the Saudi delegation, we want to thank you very much for being with us. We spent a lot of time with you today in the cabinet. You're extremely good negotiators, that I can tell you. So I want to thank you. And we have so many other unbelievable dignitaries. I won't talk too much about you because we'll be here all night. This room is loaded up with the biggest leaders in the world, business, sports. You know, my son is a big fan of Ronaldo, wherever Ronaldo is here. Ronaldo. And Barron got to meet him, and I think he respects his father a little bit more now, just the fact that I introduced you. So I just want to thank you both for being here. Thank you very much. Really an honor. But I want to thank everybody because you do.
Okay, we're going to dip in and out of the president's speech there at the state dinner. He was just talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who was there. There is a soccer connection there.
Okay.
I don't play soccer, but I know that there is a soccer connection there. That's why he is there.
I'll take your word for it.
And a couple of other celebrities as well. Nick's got to get going because he's got to do the 10 o'clock show, but I want to bring up the 7-day because this is super important.
It is.
Okay, so we were talking about rain and the wind and all that sort of stuff. How does that manifest into our 7-day forecast?
All right, so the rain comes in overnight, as we discussed. It'll still be around, like I said, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, particularly south and east of the city.
Okay.
And then the sun comes out tomorrow afternoon, so 48. Thursday, sort of combination of sun and clouds, still, again, cooler than average at 49. Morning lows in the 30s. Friday, the clouds return, and we may have a little rain Friday night, and I'm just looking at some new data. It may last through, late Saturday morning, low 50s. Then it dries out, and then we're okay. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we got a little dry stretch there. And again, our average high is 53. Ta-da!
Yeah.
We're
creeping closer to Thanksgiving and the turkey trot that I got to do.
And it's still early to say what we're going to have for Thanksgiving's weather.
Yeah. But you would be able to see if something really monstrous was happening.
I think there will be a system coming in from the west, but so if you're traveling maybe the day before Thanksgiving, you might have some issues going into the middle part of the country. But I think it'll probably escape us.
All right, good.
We should end up being okay on things. But we got days to work on.
We literally have a week.
Right? That's right. And I reserve the right to change that forecast at any time.
We'll love you just the same, whatever you decide. Just show up, because we need you. All right, Nick, thank you. We'll let you go get ready for the 10. We appreciate it.
See you later.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. It is a full house here on Newsroom Live. We've got Natasha Vermont. You can wave. That's the back cam.
Hi, guys.
Hey. She's going to be taking over at 9 o'clock. But before she does, we're going to check in with the president, who is speaking right now at the White House state dinner as he hosts the Saudi Crown Prince. Let's take a listen and see what he has to say.
What's taken place, this miracle that's taken place in the USA. Together, these will come together. We're going to have support the many thousands of American jobs that have been created and help solidify the USA and the world leader. We're really now by far the world leader in technology, and nobody even questions it. Advanced manufacturing and other vital industries. They were saying 2-3 years ago, when the country was really losing business, not gaining business, that we'll never be manufacturers again, we'll never be doing any of these businesses again, that are coming back to us in record numbers. AI plants, but maybe even most importantly, in a sense, the auto plants. They're all pouring back into the United States. And I have to say, because of tariffs, I'll also say because of November 5th, the election. But because of the tariffs, they're coming back. We have the head of Ford, we have the head of General Motors in the room, and their stock has gone through the roof because what I did with tariffs last week on certain kinds of vehicles, I won't get into it. It's called mid-sized trucks and large trucks. So I wanted to get into it because their stock went through the roof, and they were very happy. They did not really a hell of a lot of work. I gave it to them at their request, and for that, they get a big fat salary. But more importantly, they create jobs all over the country. It's been amazing. And the business you've gotten in the midsize and the large trucks because of what we did with tariffs is incredible. It's incredible. So I congratulate both companies, and thank you both for being here very much. And as we announced in May, Saudi Arabia is also making an enormous commitment to building up its own defense capabilities with the largest arms purchase in history, nearly $142 billion worth of American military equipment and services. And as I've said many times, and we've demonstrated just a short while ago, but quite a bit. We make the best military equipment in the world by far. We make the best jets, the best missiles. We make the best military equipment in the world. There's nothing even close. But this will mark and make both of our nations safer and cement the kingdom's role as a key force for stability and security in the Middle East. And they are, I think right now I can say, with what we did with our beautiful B-2 bombers going in and obliterating a very serious nuclear threat, which would have taken place in about a month from that date. They were ready to go. They're not ready to go anymore. They'd like very much to make a deal with us, and they call us, and we'll end up probably doing that. That's Iran. But when you really think about it, Your Majesty, I think that this is the best in terms of safety. Saudi Arabia has never been as safe as it is right now. You always had a little cloud over your head, and sometimes that cloud was very big. That cloud is not there anymore, and we want to keep it that way. So that's why tonight I'm pleased to announce that we're taking our military cooperation to even greater heights by far.
All right, so that's the President of the United States. He just took the mic a little while ago, speaking at the state dinner that is happening now at the White House, where he hosts the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, First Lady Melania Trump right there. You're going to have much more of this coming up in like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so we're going to save that for you.
Yeah.
It's been such a busy day, especially in Washington. So you're going to get to all that. Of course, Epstein.
Right, that's the big news today.
And so much more. We're also probably going to hopefully check in with Kendall.
Yeah, we'll check in with Kendall. We'll talk about the New York governor's race. A new poll came out there talking about Hochul and Stefanik and where they stand in the race. Kendall, we'll see if he is live in Harlem.
He's having the best time.
I know, he's having the best time.
As assignments go, he's killing it. He's like, the smile is ear to ear.
I mean, it's great.
He's going to weasel his way and try to get on one of those instruments that they have
He
there.
should. Play the piano. He's so good at it.
Yeah, he really is. He's so talented. We were just talking to Nick. I can't believe that Thanksgiving is already a week away.
I know.
And earlier today, we got a preview of some of the floats in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which is so exciting.
I'm really looking forward to the La Boo Boo one.
You mean the La Boo Boo one?
No, this is La Blue Blue. This is Brian's La Blue Blue.
Brian K. actually brought this is a real La Boo Boo, guys. Okay, this is not a La Foo Foo like I gave my kids. Wait, where's he going?
Not a La Foo Foo.
Up, down, all around. I bought my kids La Foo Foos, and the eyes fell off. Okay, there we go. Well, your nails are done. I'm about to hide mine behind.
Okay, but look, he's got the little coffee mug there, and he's got the headphones because Brian's an editor. He uses headphones.
The question is, will the Pop Mart La Boo Boo float at the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which, yes, they're going to have one this year, be as cool as Brian K's La Boo Boo?
I hope so. I hope so, because then I'm looking forward to it.
This is what you have to look up.
Yes.
There are so many cool floats. Let's talk to Will Cost, who happens to be the executive director of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. He fills us in on everything you're going to see come Thursday. Take a listen.
We have 7 brand new floats this year, from Lego to Netflix to our friends at Goldfish, who have the tiniest float in the history of Parade. We also have Lint, our chocolatier, our master chocolatier float. We have Serta, which is our counting sheep dream generator. So we've got a variety of wonderful floats this year, each one with their own unique personality, 360-degree stage that's going to surprise and delight each and every couple of million people along the parade route from the Upper West Side to Herald Square and Macy's on 34th Street. This year we have an exciting float from our friends at Pop Mart, Friendsgiving at Pop City. So we have an opportunity to bring brand new floats that are on the pulse, culturally relevant. 2025 was the year of the Labubu, so excited to bring floats like that in, and others like Lego. So we have a nice, robust, eclectic group of floats each and every year that make up the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Designing and constructing the floats is a beautiful artistic process that encompasses all of our team here at Macy's Studios, from our concept artists and sketch artists who design the initial looks and feels of our floats. We then turn it into 3D renderings, and from our 3D renderings we go into engineering. From our engineering phase we come down to the studio floor, where a variety of our artisans here, from sculptors to painters to welders to carpenters, all put the beauty and the magic together. And then we land on the day like today, where we get to share all of our hard work with the world, and look forward to Thanksgiving in just a few days. The Goldfish float is the first of its kind. It's the tiniest float, the littlest float in the history of Parade. It was a unique opportunity for us to sort of go against the grain a little bit. We are here, we are all about scale and spectacle, and we decided to reverse engineer it and go the opposite way. And what is it like if, instead of supersizing a goldfish, what if we went down to their scale? So we've got this wonderful float that have bite-sized goldfish on them that's getting pulled by an actual remote control RC Ram, which are the same trucks that pull our giant floats. So it's an opportunity for us to take, again, the fun, the whimsy, the surprise and delight of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade and transport it into a brand new element.
Also completely unrelated, with a guy like that with hair that good, trust him.
I trust him.
Trust him.
His hair looks so good, and he also does the July 4th stuff
yes,
too.
He's fantastic. He's super talented.
Yeah.
All right, it's all you, lady. Take it away.
I'm so excited. Newsroom Live, let's go. All right, Teresa Priolo, thank you very much.
You got
We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk to Kendall Green, who is live from the Holiday Lights Parade out in Harlem. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Newsroom Live, the 8 o'clock hour. I'm Natasha Verma. This is a live look outside on your Tuesday night. Beautiful evening out in the city of Manhattan. Let's talk about the holidays. So Harlem Holiday Lights Festival is happening right now. It's such a huge festivity. It's not just about the holidays, it's about community. And Harlem is shining bright tonight, and so is our Kendall Green, who is live out in Harlem. Kendall, when I last talked to you, I think on the 6 o'clock news, you were on a float and now you're off. So tell us where you're at, because this is a parade that goes down 125th Street.
I know. I was floating on the float earlier. Now we're on the end of it, and so we're on Hancock and Manhattan. So we're just really close to 125th Street. So this is like where everybody is finishing up and walking off. But we were with the Apollo Theater on their float, and it felt like a party the whole time. They had a guy singing, they had a bunch of music playing, and it was just a great time. But so a bunch of the different floats, they're getting off now, and we've been talking to a lot of folks in the community. They say this was a success. I mean, we saw just how much engagement folks were getting on and off the float from the sidelines, and like folks were having a really good time.
I love this parade. The theme this year is all about unity and light. Talk a little bit about what that means to the people of Harlem and the community, and how it's really more than just the holidays. It's about celebrating the businesses, the community that's thriving in Harlem.
Yeah. The business district there in Harlem, they put on this parade, and one of the key words was community, culture, and connection with the Apollo Theater. And they were able to just connect and show off what makes them one of the beacons of the world. Just basically showing how much talent is here, how much connectivity is here, how much culture is here. And we definitely saw that all in play tonight. And you can see folks just engaged. And it was a great time. So I also ran into one of these a public figure, a senator, just speaking to us about what a good parade this was. You represent Harlem. Introduce yourself to the folks if you don't mind.
Sure. I'm New York State Senator Cordell Clear, proudly representing Harlem, West Harlem, a portion of East Harlem, El Barrio, a portion of the Upper West Side, and a little piece of Washington Heights, some of the best neighborhoods in this state.
And this is one of those highlights. I know you got to be like proud as a peacock right now after something like this.
Absolutely.
So what was the highlight for you so far?
So the highlight for me was that I got to ride with an organization called the Hope Center. And in this time that we're living in, we need hope, and they bring hope every single day to families in my district and in this community through mental health services, through therapy, through activities, through training, and it's just counseling. It's a wonderful thing, and I feel really lucky to have them in my community. And we had a lot of fun riding around, and we saw a lot of young people. Yes, lots of kids and families.
So what does that do for you when you see the young folks, you see the families, and you're kind of almost showing them a culture of Harlem, like what it's really all about? What did you get back from that when you do?
It reminds me of growing up in Harlem when we had so many street events and street activities and really close community bonds. So it's nice that we're providing this, because I know, just like I remember those days, I know that these young people are going to remember these days, and it is something for them to hope for, something for them to work toward and inspire for, and also to know that we see you. We are out here together. Sometimes we get so busy and we're running around and we're doing all the things that we do, and the times are so challenging that we forget to just look at each other and say, happy holidays.
For sure. So you can't get out of this parade without being into the holiday spirit. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So just talk to me about like what the holiday spirit means to you, to Harlem, and what you hope everybody got out of this parade tonight.
Yeah, so the holiday season really means family and community to me. And community is an extension of family. People need to know that they're supported. They need to know that they're loved. They need to know that they are seen. They need to know that they are cared for. And I think events like this bring us even closer together. We could never be too close. We need to be closer together at this time, and know that in unity and solidarity, we will make it through any situation.
Sure, for sure. And how much goes into putting a parade like this together?
Well,
I know I asked someone, and they said as soon as the first parade is over, you're already getting ready for the next one.
Yeah. You know, I just really have to admire admire the West 125th Street bid, Barbara Askins. She puts all of this together. She brings us together. She tells us, listen, you got to get on a float. She has many events that happen along the way, just touching the community in every single way. A lot goes into this. There are many community-based organizations, not-for-profits, our healthcare organizations, our youth organizations, senior organizations, and then there's so many points along the way where you have stations and people are just waiting and celebrating and just being included and involved. And we love it. We love it.
Well, I loved it too. I loved it too. Thank you so much for making time.
You here.
Yes, ma'am. We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
We appreciate you. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you too.
Yes, ma'am. You
All
enjoy.
right.
You enjoy.
Kendall.
Oh, good.
Okay, all right.
Oh,
Kendall
good.
and Cordell.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. But Natasha, you see what it's about. It's a great time out here.
It's amazing. Kendall, you are a musician yourself. You're a pianist. You make incredible music. What was your favorite part of the parade?
Man, it was honestly. I like that song "This Christmas" from the movie, and there was a guy. He was singing and just belted it out. In a way I could never. But it like seeing how folks received it, it was incredible. It was incredible. And they were like, Teresa was like, you need to get on a program, but nah, it's about them. It's a good time.
No, I think it's amazing. It's such a great moment for the community, and I love the fact that they're already planning next year. Any idea? Could you ask her maybe any idea what they think the theme should be next year? I mean, how do you best this year's theme? It's so impactful.
For sure. Natasha, our anchor, she asked, what are you thinking about the theme this year? Great question. Next year, what are you thinking about the theme next year? Is it already in the works? How early do you guys go into deciding that?
I think that's a secret. That's secret information right now. Yeah,
classified.
That's classified. I can't. If I knew, I couldn't tell you. So that's why they didn't tell me.
Okay. It would have got out.
It would have got out. I would have slipped up somewhere. But I'm sure it's going to be something fantastic, and it's going to be something that builds community, makes us stronger.
Okay, so we'll just deem it something fantastic for now.
I like it. It's classified.
Wait and see. Come back next year.
Classified something's fantastic.
She's
ma'am.
teasing it
Thank
really
you so
well.
much.
Kendall, really quick, is there
of course.
another event that's coming up in the community? Are they doing a tree lighting? Because we're just starting this holiday season.
That's a great question. You put me on the spot there.
I know. I'm just. Did she walk away?
Yeah, she walked away. I'll ask her on the other side of the break. But,
okay, there you
I'm
go.
not sure about the tree lighting, but I'll find out for you.
Okay, perfect. All right, Kendall, you had so much fun out there. Thank you so much for bringing us all the sights and sounds of the 2025 Harlem Holiday Lights Parade. Thanks so much.
Of course. Thank you.
All right, we're going to go to break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to talk to a doctor about this flu season, this cold season. It feels like everyone's coming down with something. I'm hearing coughs in the newsroom. We'll talk to a doctor and see how you can stay safe this holiday season and stay healthy. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. As we get deeper into fall, it feels like everyone's coming down with something, whether it's the flu, it's a cold, it's the allergies, a cough that just won't go away. So what gives, and how do you stay healthy in a time where it's getting colder and people around you are sick and we're all indoors sharing germs? So what can we do to stay safe? I'm bringing in board certified emergency room Dr. Sarah Jameson. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thanks for having me, Natasha. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, I'm so happy you're here. You're seeing patients every day in your own practice. What are you seeing? Are people more sick out there?
Absolutely. So this is classic cold and flu season in the emergency department. From now until about February, we usually see a surge of people coming in with various symptoms that are reflective of, as we call them, upper respiratory illnesses, which includes the common cold, the flu, RSV, and COVID, of course. So we're seeing a lot more of that now.
Are you seeing it sooner than normal, or is it pretty on trend for the season?
To be honest, I would say it's pretty on trend in terms of the timing, but the severity has been worse than we've seen in recent years. So yeah, it's much higher volume. And then I think the main complaint that I have seen that's different from previous years is really the duration of how long people are suffering from their symptoms. And so I think this strain of the flu in particular is particularly virulent.
Yeah, that's the mutated strain that we've been hearing about that seems to really pack a punch. It lingers. A lot of people are affected. So I guess walk us through what it means to get a flu shot and how that works, because it's kind of is that right? It's an educated guess of what the strain might be?
Correct. So based on trends in previous years, there is a projected percentage, if you will, of strains that will be present within the population. And so the vaccine aims to target what the predicted strain, or rather the most prevalent strain, would be. And so that's the way that works, basically.
And so if you do get the flu shot, which I did, how protected are you against this new mutated strain?
I mean, the numbers are variable based on comorbidities, age, immunocompromised status, but the numbers usually are in favor of, if not keeping you protected from getting sick, definitely shortening the duration and the severity, again, of the illness. I got my flu shot just yesterday, as a matter of fact.
It's kind of like I do it every season. It's better to be safe than sorry, because it's not fun to get the flu.
Absolutely. I mean, it's something that is a part of our lives. Honestly, it's not a surprise every year. This is when we see it in the greatest numbers. And so, just as you mentioned, it's better to really just protect yourself, be proactive as opposed to reactive. And that's what I advocate for.
Okay, so it appears that people are getting sick, and that's on trend for the season, but the cases that you're seeing are higher in volume and severity. Why do you think that is?
I think there are a few reasons. To be honest, after COVID, I kind of attributed it to people's immunity kind of lacking, if you will, because of the fact that we were inside so much, we were wearing masks. So I think viruses like the flu, like RSV, we were not as exposed to them as we had been in previous years. That's my own theory, but scientifically speaking, just this time of year, you see it a lot more because we're indoors a lot more. We're in closer proximity. Children are back in school, and we know children are,
Petri dishes.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it, but yes, absolutely. So that's a part of why we see it so much more during this time of year in particular.
Yeah, everyone's inside. We're all sharing germs. So let's talk about that. What are some of the best things you can do to boost your immunity?
Okay, that's a great question, actually. So you can start with just very rudimentary measures. It sounds super simple, and it is, but you want to make sure that you stay hydrated, because all of our body's functions are optimized when we are fully hydrated. And then you want to get as much rest as possible as well. So your body needs the energy that it requires to be able to make sure that you are, again, optimized in all of your functions, including your immunity. So that is, like I said, very simple way to make sure that you're boosting immunity. Another one is through diet. So vitamin supplementation is very key in terms of making sure that you are protected with your immune function before cold and flu season starts. So, for example, vitamin C, we all know it, we all love it. It's a very powerful antioxidant that boosts your immune function prior to getting sick. There's a common misconception that if you take vitamin C after you've developed symptoms, that it helps. The studies show that it might decrease symptoms a little bit, but if you really want to benefit from vitamin C, you really want to take it before you start seeing symptoms because it helps prevent getting sick as well. So, yeah.
Take it every single day, then that's kind of the practice, right? Not when you start to feel the symptoms.
Absolutely. Another really important vitamin supplement to take during this time is vitamin D. And vitamin D doesn't get as much press as vitamin C, but it's just as important, especially during the winter months, because again, we're inside a lot more. We're not getting as much sunlight as we used to during the warmer months. And so vitamin D also helps boost immune function, but we kind of we don't get as much during the winter months when we're not as exposed, again, to sunlight. So, I usually go to the vitamin shop, I pick up my vitamin C, my vitamin D, and make sure that I'm all set before the winter months really set in.
Okay, doctor, I'm glad that you brought up supplements because I'm really big on the supplements game, and you walk down that supplement aisle at the store and it can be overwhelming. I mean, I see elderberry, I see roots of stuff that I didn't even know you could get supplements from, zinc. So are there certain things that are overhyped or are you staying like, vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc maybe? Is that a good one too?
Those are scientifically sound supplements to take regarding immunity and protection from cold and flu season. What I will say in terms of them being overhyped, I do think that we maybe overdo it a little bit with the supplements. They should absolutely be a part of everybody's routine, whether it be through diet or again through getting the supplementation. But excuse me, outside of that, yeah, the science is there, the science is sound, and so yeah, I strongly recommend it.
I guess the other thing too is how do you read a supplement label? How do you know what's in the best, the purest form?
Okay, so I typically like to leave that advice for a person and their primary care doctor because it really does vary based on, again, your health status, your immune status, comorbidities, age, things like that. In general, most vitamin supplementation will give you 100% or more of the daily requirement. And so most vitamin supplementations, like I said, are usually formulated to be a complete supplement as opposed it's a complete supplement, meaning that you should be able to take that vitamin and get all that you need for the day. You shouldn't have to supplement through any other means.
I've also read about different times of day and vitamin absorption. Is there any truth to that, taking vitamins at certain times of the day?
That I'm not too well versed on, to be honest. I know that our bodies will handle what we need to. Of course, there are certain, as you mentioned, times of day that it might be able to metabolize better than others. But in general, if it's something that you're ingesting, no matter what time of day, your body will be able to handle it and know what to do with it.
Okay, interesting. Finally, I think, I was suffering from allergies for quite a while, and then I'm looking outside, I'm seeing flurries, I'm seeing that there aren't any leaves on the trees, thinking, okay, so where are these allergens coming from? So why does it feel like people suffer from allergies even in the fall and winter time?
Well, your body builds up an immune response to certain allergy triggers. And once it does, there's no real controlling when you might be affected by it. So as long as you're being exposed to that trigger, then you're still liable to be able to react to it no matter what time of year.
Very interesting. All right, doctor, I really appreciate you coming on and kind of telling us different ways that we can boost our immunity and stay safe. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking with you, Natasha.
All right, Dr. Jameson, thank you very much. All right, we're going to take a quick break and then we will be right back. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. That's one of our producers, 10 o'clock producer Catherine Barner. Hi, Catherine. We're waving, we're smiling. This is the Newsroom, Fox 5. Thanks so much for joining us tonight to our Newsroom Live. So we just talked to a doctor in the last break about how you stay healthy during this flu season, which, just to recap, she said was on trend. People are getting sick. They usually do this time of year because we're all indoors sharing germs. But what's different this season is that it's the severity of the cases and the sheer volume that she's seeing, the amount of people coming into her office, seeing that they're getting sick. So get your rest, hydrate, take your vitamins, especially vitamin C and vitamin D, as she said. And hopefully we can all stay safe this holiday season and stay healthy. All right, you know that I do my podcast Talking with Natasha every week, and I got to sit down with comedian Kal Penn. This was a really fun episode that we had because he's coming out and already has come out with a few episodes of his own podcast, and it's talking about history and repeating history and why we repeat history, so hopefully we don't in the future. We also talked about the rumors, which are true, that Harold and Kumar installment number 4 is coming out. So I asked him if he was going to be part of that. And then I talked about his comedic rise, how he got to the comedy industry, how he got into acting. He's from New Jersey. We talked about New York, where he likes to get his bagels and his pizza from. And then this was really interesting. He met Zohran Mamdani when Zohran was 14 years old. And this is a really interesting part of a conversation. And here's a snippet of that. Take a listen.
You can't get a job at Abercrombie and Fitch because you're too famous, but the phone's also not ringing for your next gig. So when does the phone start ringing? Is it when it goes to HBO and this movie becomes like a cult classic?
Yeah, it was a couple of things. There was, I think every actor, you're always hustling. And I'm talking about back in the day when things were analog, right? So it's not like I could test out my jokes on like a TikTok reel or something. You really have to like pool your resources, shoot something, find an editor, send it out to see if anybody responds to it, make a tape, all of that. And those were things that you would do. But it wasn't until Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle really caught on DVD and on HBO. And filmmakers who were really thoughtful would call. So like I had this 4-episode arc on 24, and I loved that arc. And that's obviously a drama. And the producer on that, I remember, reached out and said, he was of the belief that anybody who does comedy can do drama, but not vice versa. And I was like, I'll leave the philosophical arguments to other people. I'm honored that you'd think of me. So like a gig like that right, was huge. I loved that. I had the chance to do one of my favorite films is called The Namesake.
Yeah, I saw that.
That Mira Nair directed. She was a role model of mine. I didn't know her as a kid, but she was a role model of mine. And this movie she did way back in the day with Denzel Washington and Sarita Choudhury called Mississippi Massage.
Oh, yeah.
Was the first time that I'd seen people who looked like me on screen. And what I mean by that is not like, oh, it was a positive depiction. No, there were like a full Indian family that had financial problems, that got angry, that were racist against other people. There were things that make you human, like fully fleshed out characters. I remember being inspired by that. So when I heard that this book, The Namesake, was being turned into a movie and that Mira was directing it, I tried to get an audition for it. And my agent couldn't get me into audition. And I was like begging them. So I wrote her a letter. And I basically said, I watched your movie Mississippi Masala when I was 14 years old. One of the reasons I'm an actor, please let me audition for this movie. She received the letter, calls my agent. I fly to New York. And I walk into the audition and she goes, you should know 2 things. One, the role has actually already been cast, but I got your beautiful letter. And you said I had to let you audition. It would mean a lot to you. So because this other actor's deal isn't closed, I'm letting you audition. But number 2, the real reason you're here is my 14-year-old son, Zohran.
Zohran Mamdani.
Zohran Mamdani, for folks who don't know, is a huge fan of Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. And for the last 6 months, he and his best friend Sam have been showing me clips from the movie telling me that I should audition you to play the lead in my very serious drama. And I said, this is obviously not the guy. Look at this movie. It's puerile. It's like not at all what my elevated Pulitzer-winning adaptation is going to be. But then I got your letter, and because my son has been lobbying for you for the last 6 months. Anyway, so he's going to stick around. Like, if you can stick around after your audition, he would love to say hi. So basically, I give this audition knowing I'm not going to get the part because somebody else had already gotten it. Mates are on. A couple months go by. The other actor had dropped out. I end up getting the lead in The Namesake.
Wow.
And so he and I have known each other, obviously, since he was a kid.
Since he was 14.
I'm very biased. I think the world of him. Our politics also do align. But that was an example of couldn't get a job after Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle came out until it started doing well on DVD. And then both filmmakers who wanted to flip the script and cast me in something like 24 called. And then there was also like movies that you wanted that didn't work out because the filmmaker was like, this is the wrong guy, until their kid was like, actually, you should audition.
I'm listening to the story and I'm thinking so many things in the universe have to line up.
100%. That's always how it is with any artist. A lot of athletes too will tell you the same thing. Is like there are so many. Like look at the art. Look at what you do. There are so many people who are so good at these jobs, and at some point, it's also a matter of right place, right time. It's not that you're not putting in the work, but a lot of people are putting in the work. A lot of people are talented. A lot of people are doing the right thing. So the way like you said, I guess you can call it the way the universe comes together, or good fortune, or right place, right time, whatever it is.
You got to trust the process too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and write letters.
Yeah, and write letters.
Heartfelt.
Nobody does that.
No one does that anymore. Yeah. Okay, Harold and Kumar 4 in the works.
Right. So don't know if it's actually happening. The producers have made a deal with the writers to write one.
So it's in the works.
So the idea of it is in the works.
Got it.
I am obviously very available and interested should they close a deal with the actors. But yeah, I think, it's been 20 years. What I love about those films is they're all three of them are satire. We make fun of everybody, including ourselves, in those movies. And it's one of the things that I love about comedy today is if, like some of my favorite stand-up comedians are like Shane Gillis or my friend Daniel Sloss, who's in New York right now. I've been opening for him at Soho Playhouse off and on this week. There's like people who are really fun, interesting storytellers that's the thing I love about the guys who write the Harold and Kumar movies. So I would love to do a fourth one.
I think that would be great.
From your mouth to producers' ears.
If they're listening. Was that your first time eating White Castle?
What, in that movie?
First movie?
That's a great question. Yes, and the weird thing is they're all over New Jersey, but I'm not really a big fast food guy.
Yeah.
And when we shot that first movie, I was a vegetarian, and they were very kind.
It's conflict of interest.
It was not conflict of interest. You know what's funny? The New York Post. I remember that when we were promoting the movie, the publicists on the film were like, "Don't mention that you're vegetarian." I was like, "Why?" It's a stoner movie. Also, the movie is not really a stoner movie because only bad things happen to them when they're high. Like it's a movie about friendship and they're hungry. Like, yeah, but we would just prefer if you don't mention that you're vegetarian. Some journalists had asked me if I was, and I wasn't going to lie. So I said yes. And I don't remember the exact headline, but it was like the New York Post made some like salacious headline like actor in White Castle movie secretly vegetarian.
Secretly doesn't eat product.
And that was probably the most publicity we got for that film. So I was like, oh, I see what they meant by not wanting me to say anything about my dietary habits. But our props person on the movie was great about making little veggie sliders. The White Castle company was wonderful through that whole process. And the irony is that when I got to know one of their VPs while we shot the first movie, and I kept telling him, like, man, you should introduce a veggie burger. And they said something to the effect of like, do you know our target customer and what time they come? Nobody wants a veggie burger at White Castle. Now, 20 years later, they have an Impossible Burger on the menu, which is delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just a funny, like, wow, times have changed.
You were ahead of the curve.
I guess I was. I'm no longer vegetarian.
Yeah. Oh, you're not?
No.
Okay, so now you can't eat the sliders. Okay, we've got
all the things.
You eat all the things. We've got 2 minutes left in this. You said the Lily Singh episode is coming out on your podcast next.
Lily Singh episode drops very soon. And it's by the way, if you have ideas on who you want to hear for a conversation about why things keep repeating themselves and, with the thought of here we go again, like shoot me a DM, obviously subscribe to the pod, but like let us know because we've got a ton of these episodes and we're lining up really interesting guests who are historians and professors. There's one that we're doing with Varsha Sharma, who runs Teen Vogue, about everything from the way that magazines are changing to the influence of politics and fashion. So these are all like totally different.
Very
right?
interesting.
Yeah.
But there's such a range, but I think the thread is the same. The more things change, the more things stay the same. And hopefully history doesn't repeat itself after a while and we can learn from our mistakes.
That's the kicker of this, is that yes, things do repeat themselves, but we all have agency to affect those things. And so it's not a preachy podcast, but I want to understand this idea a little bit better and how I fit into making the world a little bit better.
Well, Cal Penn, it's been an honor to talk to you.
This is really fun. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
Me too. In 2013, I was inspired to go to White Castle because of you.
Oh, no way. And what'd you think?
I liked it. The crispy chicken was my favorite.
Perfect.
Yeah.
We love to hear that.
I wouldn't eat a ton of them, but they're really good. Yeah. They're really good. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Thanks, everybody.
you.
Yeah, being from Texas, there were no White Castles. I come back to New York and I see a White Castle. I'm like, oh my gosh, Cal Penn. I got to go and try out and see what this hype was all about. It was good. My full conversation with Cal Penn is on YouTube. Look up Talking with Natasha on Fox 5 NY YouTube page. We talked for 30 minutes. Fascinating. I loved sitting down with him. Someone else who was on my podcast, Nigel Barker. You know him. I grew up watching him on America's Next Top Model. He was a fascinating guest to talk to. He launched his own ready-to-drink cocktail company called the Barker Company, and now he's coming out with a perfume that's inspired by those cocktails with Olfactory NYC. He has a big collaboration event that's going to be tomorrow, and he's going to join me on the other side of this break, and we're going to talk about what inspired him, the collaboration, and how you can be involved as well. So we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to Newsroom Live. I'm your host, Natasha Verma, and tonight, a familiar face from the fashion world is stepping into the perfume world with his cocktail company. The one, the only, Nigel Barker joins me now. Nigel, great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me.
It's such a pleasure, as always. Good to see you.
It's so good to see you. Okay, so you are a celebrity photographer, a model. You are a top judge on America's Next Top Model. You are also the owner of the Barker Company, where you make these incredible ready-to-serve cocktails. And now you're having a fragrance?
Of course. I mean, it's the most fashionable cocktail. The espresso martini is the #1 cocktail of the moment. And we all see it everywhere we go out, right? We're all seeing espresso martinis being ordered left, right, and center. And that's what the Barker Company was all about, was creating a perfect espresso martini. But for all of you out there who love an espresso martini, what better than a fragrance?
Yes.
Right? So we actually joined forces with Olfactory NYC. And the story is kind of funny, Natasha, because oftentimes these things they sound like, oh, it's so obvious how it came about. But this was a real classic of the era, of the time kind of meeting, as in they posted something on social media about espresso martinis. I didn't know them beforehand. I saw it and I literally DM'd them.
You slid into their DMs.
I slid into their DMs, and little did I know that they were an English company, first of all. They have 8 stores throughout the US, but they have 3 in New York and in multiple other states across the US. But Olfactory NYC is actually English-based. JJ Victoria is the founder of this incredible company. They make handmade fragrances personalized for the individual. They've got a store on Bleecker Street where we're having a great launch party. But I went in there and I created a signature perfume based on my espresso martini with notes of coffee beans, hazelnut, cognac, suede, and also one for my cappuccino martini, which is sandalwood, mocha, cream, vanilla. So although it's based on the espresso martini, it's an homage too, if you like.
I love it. I mean, I think of coffee, like that smell of coffee. I absolutely love it. And even espresso martini, it's sweet, it's well balanced. I know that you're really big into fragrance. When I met you for the first time, you smelled so good. You smelled like leather, Nigel Barker. You smell like leather. You smell so good. Is fragrance something that you've always been passionate about?
It's actually not my first dive into fragrance. Back in the day, I actually created 3 different fragrances once before, about a decade ago. I just think that there's so many elements to the entire experience in this world. So when we you think about fashion, which is the world I come from, but music, sound, that's another piece of it. What we smell is a huge part of it. So I've been involved in the hospitality industry, for example, for years. And one of the things that we do when we launch a new hotel is often create an essence and a smell for the hotel, because we connect so much with the way things smell. In fact, we often recognize a person, a place by the smell before we do by what we see. So yeah, I think it's fascinating, first of all, but I think it's also just a very specific piece of our nostalgia about how we remember things. So creating a scent is just a really fun thing to do, and it's in the fashion industry, getting a fragrance campaign is the pinnacle of your career. So for us to launch one with our espresso martini, the Barker Company espresso martini at the same time is kind of super fun.
I think you're spot on with certain scents that transport you to your childhood and invoke nostalgia. Is there a certain scent that invokes nostalgia in you?
Oh, of course. My mother, has for years loved to wear opium. The fragrance opium. It's a classic old school fragrance. And whenever I smell this fragrance, I walk down the streets of New York, and you're like, "Oh, is that Mum?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's amazing how certain fragrances pique your smell. My daughter is called Jasmine, and it's literally named after. She's named after one of my favorite fragrances of the jasmine flower. There's nothing better than being in Europe and having a jasmine bush outside your room, and you go in and out, and the waft of the door wafts that jasmine smell into the room. So absolutely, 100%. And I think that as far as our sense, the espresso martini and the cappuccino martini, it's for all of those people who love a night out, like the excitement, like the mystery, the allure of this cocktail that's so fashionable, cool, and sort of sexy as well. But it's how do I have the essence of it without being on the nose? So it's not deliberate, it's not too much. You don't smell like a cocktail.
Right.
But you have an essence of what that you don't smell like you spilled your cocktail.
I know. That's what I was wondering. Okay, so we're showing some videos of you working in what feels like a lab. You've got beakers, you've got pipettes, you're trying out different fragrances. Walk us through the creative process of this. What was it like to create it, and how do you balance those different smells?
So that's at Olfactory, actually, on their Bleecker Street store. When I first went in there, this is how we did it. I mean, I sat with, their scientists and their sort of mixologists of fragrance, and you break it down. I mean, we literally got our espresso martini, and they provided various different elements that I could mix together, and we went back and forth. And it wasn't just one day. I actually came back for a second round, and a third round even, because we were going back and forth. My wife and I as well, we all got involved. It was a family affair. You know, it's a fragrance for all of us, and it was. What makes the most sense? How does that work? What does cream mean in a scent? What does suede mean in a scent? You know, you said I smelt of leather the other day. That could sound bad, but it can also be good. There are elements of what does that mean to you? So there's all different degrees of any one essence of a scent that you put in, and they're brilliant at olfactory at combining these things. So it was a perfect relationship, really.
Did you get nose fatigue? I mean, I know you had coffee beans there, I'm sure, so it was like perfect if you did, but how was that process like?
No, actually, at one point, my wife and I, Chrissy, we walked out of the store just to get a breath of complete fresh air because I was like, I can't smell anything anymore.
Yeah.
And they said to me, that's quite normal for someone who does not used to this. What, you know, go and do that. So I remember walking out of the store, standing in Bleecker Street in New York City, taking a big whiff of sort of city air and thinking, wow, that's refreshing, which, you know, is a funny part of it.
In New York.
Then walking back in again, just to kind of like get a sense of like, okay, even keel again. Let me go back at what do these scents really smell like. It's hard. You know, I've designed things like, other than alcohol, I've designed wines before too. And, you know, when you're picking out those particular notes, it gets complicated, it gets busy, like all of a sudden you forget where you are, you know, so you have to have a reset. And it's worth noting that, you know, like anything, when you're trying to make a signature scent, it's so important to have a sort of a baseline, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Nigel, stay with me. We're going to take a quick break because on the other side of the break, I really want to talk about this major event that you've got tomorrow where people can actually come and smell the scent. So stay with me and we will be back in just a couple minutes. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. You are taking a live look at our Fox 5 newsroom. This is where we get our stories, make them happen, and bring them to you on air. And I am joined on air right now with fashion icon Nigel Barker, who came out with his own ready-to-serve cocktail, the Barker Company. We've got the espresso martini, the cappuccino martini, delicious right there. And now, Nigel, you have partnered with Olfactory NYC, and you've kind of you've thought outside. Not outside of the box, but outside the bottle.
Exactly. Well put. Well put. Yeah, you know, it's an interesting concept. Some people, even when I first mentioned it to people, they were like, but why would I want to smell like a cocktail? And I said to them, well, it's not like you're going to smell like a cocktail, but it's the essence of. It's all the things that remind you of and make you think of an espresso martini. So we're talking about, obviously the coffee, but there's a hazelnut aspect to a good espresso martini. There is a cognac, a suede, various undernotes when you're sort of describing an espresso martini. These are all things where these are classic elements to fragrance. And I've made fragrance in the past over the years, and when you talk about these notes, these are notes which you walk into them and you're like, oh, they have great nostalgic value, and they smell fabulous. It's almost like baking bread. Like it smells wonderful, and it immediately takes you somewhere. So we created a scent that takes you to the point where you're like, oh, I would love an espresso martini, or I would love a cappuccino martini, And so those sort of ideas are what fragrance are really about. They're about transporting you to another place.
And I've only had good experiences with an espresso martini. I mean, every single time I've had a good time, an espresso martini is always involved. So to smell, it invokes a good memory. And how has your company been going, by the way? How's it, the reception? Because when I talked to you, you came on my podcast, I can't believe almost a year ago, and you just kind of launched it, and it was fantastic. It took off, and you were all over the country.
So it's been an amazing year, Natasha. Thank you so much for all your support as well. But, it's been 1 year now. We're now in 30 states. We have done extraordinarily well. It's the fastest growing cocktail in America. It's the fastest growing cocktail now in the world, the espresso martini is. And it's the #1 cocktail with women. It's the #1 cocktail with under 30-year-olds. And the funny thing about the espresso martini is it's the #1 most returned cocktail to the bar by people who are not happy with their drink. So, we created this cocktail to really be a solution for people everywhere. You can now make a bartender quality cocktail by simply pouring it on ice into a shaker, shaking it up, and you will have, just like I have here, an espresso martini, perfect, 40 proof, beautifully made. It's 100%.
With the perfect amount of foam also, because that's always the problem with espresso martinis. Every single time, it's perfect.
It's key. It's key. No, it's 100%. But that comes from really good coffee. Ours is 100% Colombian espresso coffee, a 6-time distilled vodka and caramelized brown sugar. You simply shake it on ice.
I love it.
That's it.
Okay, so you've taken the espresso martini, you've put it into a scent. There's an event that's happening tomorrow, and it's also going to be available for people to buy online because it is the holiday season after all.
It's a really fun gift, to think about a stocking stuffer, or if you know someone who loves an espresso martini in your life, or even a cappuccino martini. This is a new product that we just launched. It's made with a Wisconsin cream. It's the equivalent of adding like a shot of Bailey's to your espresso martini. We have a scent for each. So there's something really fun, a little different. If you're wondering what to get someone, this is the ideal kind of concept that means that you've also thought outside the bottle.
Yes, that you care about them and you're thoughtful. Nigel, before we go, where can people purchase this scent? And also, is it going to be available in store for purchase?
It is. It's available in olfactory stores all around New York City. And if you go to their website, olfactorynyc.com, there's a link to it. But you can also go to the Barker Martinis, and there's a link in our site as well, or simply visit us on Instagram at the Barker Co. And you'll see all the information about it, how we made it and all the different pieces. So enjoy yourself, have some fun, smell good, and happy holidays. It's a really fun season ahead of ourselves. We deserve a cocktail at the very least.
Absolutely. We deserve to smell nice and smell balanced and fresh. Nigel Barker, as always, thank you so much for joining me. This is so fun.
Thank you, as always.
Okay, all right. I'll see you soon. Thanks, Nigel. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Newsroom Live. I figured we'd go through some of the top headlines before we close out this hour. It was a really big day, a lot of big news that shook the industry. Let's start with the White House. President Trump rolling out the red carpet for Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. This was at the White House today, and it was very choreographed, very closely watched visit. What you're looking at here is the Crown Prince getting the full South Lawn welcome today, military honors, the whole thing. And inside the Oval Office, the president called MBS one of America's most important partners in the Middle East. So what were they talking about? A lot. We're told the big ticket items included a potential U.S.-Saudi defense agreement, billions in new Saudi investments here in the United States, and of course those highly scrutinized F-35 fighter jets that Saudi Arabia has been trying to buy. And the president's message was basically that the U.S.-Saudi relationship is back on track and stronger than ever. But there's also controversy in all of this. Human rights groups are slamming the White House for embracing MBS, despite U.S. intelligence findings linking him to the killing of the U.S.-based journalist Khashoggi. And when pressed, the president once again kind of brushed that off, saying that he's focused on moving forward and the future. And of course, this meeting comes during a critical time in the Middle East, with tensions rising around Gaza, Iran, many questioning Saudi Arabia and what kind of deal that would be with Israel. So we do have some sound from the president. I believe this was when he was taking questions from reporters in the Oval Office. So let's listen in.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually.
All right, and MBS also spoke in the Oval Office too, and here's a listen to that.
I feel painful about families of 9/11 in America, but we have to focus on reality. Reality based on CIA documents and based on a lot of documents that Osama bin Laden, he used Saudi people in that event for one main purpose, is to destroy this relation, to destroy the American-Saudi relation.
So a lot in play tonight, from oil prices and defense deals to America's role in the region. So we're going to keep a close eye on that and see how the rest of the trip wraps up. The other big news from Capitol Hill tonight were the releasing of the Epstein files. So Congress has taken a decisive step in the long-running battle over these files tied to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. So the House voted overwhelmingly, 427-1, in favor of legislation forcing the U.S. Department of Justice to release its files connected to Epstein's sex trafficking investigation. And then just hours later, the Senate signed on unanimously as well. No amendments, no major roadblocks, and now all eyes are on the White House because President Trump has said that he will sign the bill to release the files once it lands on his desk. So the fact that it passed near unanimous support in the House, only one representative voted no on this, and the fact that Senate also pushed it through is very interesting. We're going to continue to follow this tonight on the 10 o'clock news. I'm going to get ready for the newscast. Thank you so much for joining me. We're going to dive deeper into the headlines there in about an hour, but thank you for joining me, and until next time, have a good night.
Thanks for watching Fox 5's Newsroom Live. We're now joining Live Now's non-stop stream of live and breaking news.
Local school boards and most policy is set on the state level. That is the case today. It has long been the case. So that hasn't changed. I don't think we would necessarily expect the day-by-day experience of students in schools to be impacted by the federal government. However, if it got to the point where they couldn't release the money that school districts were expecting, say, to pay for tutoring or for special education services, then I think people would start to feel it in a different way. But those things generally take some time. So we do see, for instance, a big backlog of cases that have been filed at the Office for Civil Rights because the staff has been so reduced there. And if you talk to people who have cases pending and are waiting for decisions, they'll say that they're feeling an impact. So it just really sort of depends on how you look at it.
So Secretary McMahon is arguing that the Department of Education is mostly a pass-through for funds that are best managed by the states. Did today's move in any way give more power to the states?
That's sort of an irony here because no, it really didn't. I mean, that is certainly how they message about this. They like to talk about returning power to the states. And certainly there are steps that could be taken to do that. You could loosen federal rules, for instance. Most of those are written into the statute, so you would probably need Congress. But just moving an office from one federal agency to another federal agency does not in and of itself return any power to the states or reduce the federal impact. I mean, in some ways, actually, it may have actually made it harder for some states and school districts because instead of just dealing with one agency, the Department of Education, the people that they're used to dealing with, sort of with the processes that are well established, they're going to have to figure out how to deal with another agency. Now, it may be seamless, it may be easy, it may be better in the end. I don't know, but I don't think it's returning education to the states.
So if McMahon wants more power to the states, why are federal agencies getting some of the power? And what levers do they have to give more power to the states?
Well, I think the way you sort of stumbled on that question a little bit reflects the sort of the contradictions inherent in this. I mean, President Trump campaigned on the idea of closing the education department. And that is what they're trying to make as much progress as they can to fulfill that pledge. But that is different from returning power or quote returning, but really just giving more power to the states. If they wanted to do that, then they could do, and they are doing some things along those lines. For instance, granting waivers when states want to try programs in a new way that doesn't go along with the established rules. They are maybe granting more waivers. They can write new flexibilities into the programs that they have. So there are ways that they could make progress to that goal, but they're a little bit separate from the question of what federal agency is actually housing the people who run them.
Finally, where does this story go from here, and where does your reporting take you from here? What's the next major chapter in this Department of Education dismantling story, if you will?
Yeah, I think one thing that I'll be looking for is, as I mentioned, there are some big parts of the agency that are still firmly at the Department of Education itself. I include the Federal Student Loan Program. I include a program that serves students with disabilities, that gives money to school districts essentially to help pay for services for students with disabilities, which has a huge constituency behind it. I include the Office for Civil Rights. I'm going to be looking to see if any of those functions are transferred to other parts of the government. I think that would be very interesting and a much bigger move in a way, but we're certainly seeing the direction that they want to go in. And we have seen that. We already actually saw it with one small move a little bit earlier as well. So they are clearly trying to do what they can absent congressional approval to move towards dismantling. So I'll be looking to see what other things they do along the same lines.
All right. Laura Meckler is a national education writer with Washington Post. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right. Just about 5 minutes past 9 p.m. in the nation's capital. Earlier today, we did hear from Education Secretary Linda McMahon. She was on the story with Martha McCallum. Let's play a bit of it.
And the announcement really follows the plan that President Trump has had since day one, and that is returning education to the states. He fully believes, as do I, the best education is that's closest to the child and not run from a bureaucracy in Washington, D.C. So the announcement that we made this afternoon was what we are doing to take certain programs that are now part of the Department of Education and what we call signing interagency agreements, and that is that we procure the services of other agencies. It's kind of a bit of a test run. Mm-hmm. We want to move on a temporary basis some of those programs to different agencies. The funding still comes from the Department of Education. The management of those programs, the oversight of those programs is still at the department, but we want to see if what we think to be true is that they will function much more in a streamlined fashion and much more efficiently if we relocate those programs into other agencies. And so if we do that, I call it the proof of concept. Well, we'll move it, we'll see how it works, we will deliver then to Congress the outcomes, and I hope that Congress will then vote to codify the permanent move of those independent programs to those agencies, and eventually that will be all of the programs that the Department of Education has oversight over, and then we'll be ready to get rid of that bureaucracy and fully return things to the states where I do believe it belongs.
Okay, so let's hit our first break of the hour. The time in the nation's capital, about 5 minutes past 9. Okay, our continuing coverage of Trump's cabinet. Let's move from Education Secretary Linda McMahon to Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, U.S. Department of Homeland Security Secretary Noem, meeting with the Canadian Secretary of State for an announcement and really a trilateral news conference along with Finland's Minister of Economic Affairs. This news conference aiming at announcing the next steps in what they're calling the Icebreaker Collaboration Effort. This is basically a pact having to do with immigration enforcement operations between the United States, Canada, and Finland. Kristi Noem and those two counterparts speaking in front of cameras earlier today. Let's play some of this out.
Not just for the United States of America, but for our great countries, Canada and Finland, and the relationship that we're going to continue to build. And that's what we are, is that we are a people of builders. We have a president that has spent his lifetime and his legacy building things, building relationships and projects and futures with the work of his hands, the legacy of his family, but also with a vision for the future of this country.
Admiral Lundy, I want to thank you for your leadership as well. The Admiral has been nominated to be our next Commandant of the U.S. Coast Guard, and we're so grateful for his leadership and his commitment to our national security and platform over the many years. I believe it's 39 years?
Almost 39.
Almost 39 years in service to the United States of America. Let's give him a round of applause and thank him for that. And Congressman Higgins and Congressman Weber, thank you for coming today. You have led with distinction. You serve and represent your people well, but you also keep your eye on the ball each and every day about what it means to keep this country safe. So thank you for your commitment and what it means to have your presence here today. It means a lot, not just for me personally, but to the entire room and to the Coast Guard and to these countries that know you'll continue to make sure that our relationship stays strong. So we appreciate you and your leadership. And to the Ambassador and Minister, thank you. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to continue to work together and to collaborate for the strength of our countries. As you know, I'm Christine Ohm. I'm honored to be the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, and today is not just a great day for the United States of America, but for the entire Western Hemisphere. Alongside our partners here from Canada and Finland, the Trump administration is taking a monumental step forward to protect the Arctic against our enemies, bringing good jobs to our American shores in the process and also strengthening our commitment to our alliances in the region. I do want to thank my counterparts, the Minister of Economic Affairs, Sakari Pusito, and Ambassador Kristen Hilleman, for joining me here today. I want to thank the Ambassador, who I had the chance to know previously to this role, but also make a new friend in the Minister. I'd also like to thank Admiral Lundy and Mr. Sean Planky for their leadership at the U.S. Coast Guard. Both have been absolutely essential to rebuilding America's icebreaker fleet. And thank you to all of the other industry partners who are in the room, and thank you to those other members of Congress that have committed to getting us to where we are here today. We could not simply have done this without all of you. Today is a major milestone in the race to secure the Arctic for all of our countries. The Arctic is the world's last, most wild frontier, and our adversaries are racing to claim its strategic position and its rich natural resources for their own. If we give up that high ground, then we will condemn future generations to permanent insecurity, and we're not going to let that happen on our watch. This is what brings us here today. To thrive in the Arctic, we need icebreakers. But if we're going to get those icebreakers that we need to secure our supply chains, and we need to invest in bringing our manufacturing back here home to our American shores. And that's why IcePack is such a big deal. It's not just a symbolic agreement, it's one that is delivering tangible results for all of our countries. It's powering our economies. It's strengthening our collective Arctic defense, and it's bringing us one step closer to rebuilding our icebreaker fleets. America has been in the Arctic region for over 150 years. And now, once again, we're acting together as one under the leadership of President Trump. Already we're seeing the fruits of his leadership, and in August of 2025, we commissioned the U.S. Coast Guard cutter Storis, the first polar icebreaker acquired by the Coast Guard in over 25 years. But commissioning the Storis was just the first step. Thanks to the funding secured by President Trump's leadership and members of Congress that are in this room, we are dramatically expanding our icebreaker fleet. The Coast Guard's polar security and our new Arctic security cutter programs are moving forward full steam ahead. We're working hard to develop, to build, and deploy these critical assets so that we can have our warfighters ready all the time and on record time. And this meeting could not have come at a better time. Soon after the Storis was commissioned, Chinese research vessels openly operated in and near U.S. Arctic waters. Their goal was clear. They wanted to test America's resolve. The Coast Guard responded immediately. In fact, we deployed the cutter Healy and a fleet of air assets to the scene, and we escorted those intruders out of our waters. Our rapid response sent a clear message. Under President Trump's leadership, we will defend our sovereignty. And I can guarantee you that President Trump is committed to this mission. In October, he signed a memorandum on Arctic security cutters in the Oval Office, emphasizing the urgency behind delivering these icebreakers to the fleet. And Ice Pact is going to help us make that happen. By pooling our resources and our expertise, we are going to deliver these vessels on time, and we're going to minimize our costs. Just this year, the Canadian shipbuilder Davies announced a $1 billion investment in U.S. shipyards to build icebreakers right here in America. And companies from Finland are teaming up with American shipyards to deliver new cutting-edge icebreakers. Both efforts are going to continue to create long-term, well-paying jobs for U.S. American-born workers. And on that note, I'm proud to announce the release of the Ice Pact U.S. National Defense Workforce Plan and Development Plan. This plan is going to set the stage for rebuilding our shipyards and revitalizing an industry that has been left on the wayside for far too long. Not only will these workers be able to provide for their families, but they'll be able to take pride in knowing that their work is absolutely critical for American security, for our economic growth, and for Arctic dominance. This plan will set the stage for future efforts to join even more programs in 2026 and beyond far into the future. Finland and Canada are essential to the success of that mission. And American shipbuilders are some of the most innovative, dedicated, and hardworking individuals in the world. But they have been let down by the policies that put America last. That is changing today. Through initiatives like the Workforce Development Plan, President Trump is bringing this proud industry back to life. And under his leadership, America is restoring our Arctic and our maritime dominance. So thank you again, Minister Pesito and Ambassador Hillman, for your nation's willingness to join us on this mission. May God bless you. May God bless the people of Finland and the people of Canada, and may God continue to keep his hand and protection on the great United States of America. Thank you.
All right, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem speaking earlier today with Finnish and Canadian officials. If you're curious what this Ice Pact entails, by the way, Noem basically saying this is a strategic partnership with Canada and Finland to build nearly a dozen cutting-edge icebreaker ships to help defend the Arctic against rival powers such as China. So these are literal, we talk about ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and it, of course, is under the Department of Homeland Security, but these are literal icebreakers that they're talking about at that event. Noem saying to thrive in the Arctic, we need icebreakers. And ultimately, those three countries working together to defend the Arctic territory. Let's hit a commercial break. We are hearing some possible news out of Southern California. We're working to get above a police pursuit right now. We'll let you know any updates on that when we return. Okay, I just want to make everybody aware that there is a police pursuit that Sky Fox is trying to track at the moment. We'll let you know if we do, in fact, get above that police pursuit in Southern California. Our understanding is that there is a pursuit in progress right now, and it looks like they're near downtown LA, if my eye serves me correct. So we'll let you know if Sky Fox gets above this suspect. I don't have any preliminary details on this for now, but what I will say is we're going to turn our attention. Oh, and by the way, we'll also make you aware
from us that morning
of something we're seeing on the House floor. The House is active as we speak. And you know what? This is live. We do prioritize live events. So let's play some of this out. I was listening to a little bit of this earlier. I believe they are remembering the victims of that deadly plane crash. Of course, that UPS plane going down in a community, killing everybody on board, and then also a number of people on the ground, 14 people killed in total. The House remembering them live right now. Let's pull up the audio.
Who responded to the scene within seconds. The 911 dispatchers who coordinated an instantaneous response. The firefighters who got people to safety, and the local EMTs, nurses, and doctors who treated the injured. Their bravery and quick action saved lives. As the community heals from a moment of this incredible darkness, they unify and find light under the motto, Grand Blank, Better Together. Residents specifically asked me to bring this message to the floor of the U.S. House. Today, may the whole nation learn from their example, and may we always stand better together with Grand Blank. They remind us that it is our differences that make our country stronger, and it is the way we love one another that will define us. For them, may we all seek to bring peace, understanding, and love to this world, and let us never forget their loss. I ask my colleagues to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you, and I yield back.
Gentleman yields. We wanted to bring you that before we move on with the rest of our coverage. A live look at the White House on this Tuesday evening, 9:22 in the nation's capital. Also, no clear shot of that pursuit taking place right now in Southern California. Looks like they do have a police chopper within their line of sight, but not the suspect themselves. So we're going to hit a quick commercial break. The plan on the other side is to join with retired Marine Intelligence Officer Hal Kempfer, discussing the latest on that high-profile meeting earlier today. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman visiting the White House. First time he's done such in about 7 years. The president and MBS speaking in front of the cameras earlier today. Hal and I are going to break it down in a moment. You're watching Live Now. I'm Austin Westfall. Earlier today, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman committed his country to increasing his planned investment into the United States economy to nearly $1 trillion over the next year. MBS making the announcement while meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office, saying that the investments will take place across the U.S. economy. Trump initially stating that the investment would amount to at least $600 billion, but the Saudi leader confirming earlier today that the higher amount would be the amount that does get pumped into the U.S. economy. Again, nearly $1 trillion. Of course, MBS's visit didn't come without controversy. During his trip, President Trump dismissed U.S. intelligence findings that MBS likely had some culpability in the 2018 killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Retired Marine Intelligence Officer, National Security Analyst, and host of the Strat podcast, Hal Kempfer, is here. Hal, the U.S.-Saudi relationship had, for a time, been sent into a tailspin by Khashoggi's murder. Why have those clouds seemingly lifted?
Pretty much necessity. We had to have a close relationship with Saudi Arabia. They're a counter to Iran. They're the dominant force, if you will, the dominant power in the Sunni Muslim world, also in the Arabian Peninsula. And we've always had a long, very close relationship with them. And we need to get past the, I don't know what you want to call it, the Khashoggi incident that occurred. And personally, I think probably the intelligence that was reported at the time may have been correct. But then again, the politics of not just the Middle East, but around the world can sometimes be extremely brutal. And, we somehow in World War II, we managed to overlook all the sins of Stalin in order to ally with him against Nazi Germany. And I'm not putting Saudi Arabia in the same area as that, but I'm just saying there are times when you have to overlook some of these things. And by the way, I just want to kind of point out, there are many countries in the world that have some pretty damning things to say about the United States and some of the actions that we've taken around the world, whether overt or covert. And just moving beyond that, and that's kind of where it is. I mean, it's certainly for those who feel strongly about it, they'll never be satisfied with that situation, but it is necessary that we have a close relationship with Saudi Arabia.
Reporters asked about the Khashoggi killing today, and Trump was quoted responding, and I'm reading this. He said, "Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But Prince Mohammed knew nothing about it. And we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that." That's what they said in front of the cameras. So Hal, MBS denies involvement in the killing of Khashoggi. By the way, Khashoggi was a Saudi citizen, and he was a Virginia resident.
He was a permanent U.S. resident as well. Yes.
That's right. And remind us, what did the U.S. intel powers that be say about the Khashoggi killing at the time? And what did our intel say about whether MBS was connected or not?
Well, what basically, just to kind of recap it for those who are aware, he was in Turkey and he was lured to the Saudi consulate to get a visa. And he went into the Saudi consulate. And when he was in there, as far as we know, he was basically, there was a hit team that was in there. Now, the intelligence that came out said that there was an order by MBS to capture or kill Khashoggi. He had been a close confidant of the government, of the royal family, and then he publicly turned on them and felt that they were basically was anti-Saudi royal family in so many words. And he had moved to the United States. He was a permanent U.S. resident in the United States. While in there, he was captured and killed. And then, as according to reports, this is kind of gruesome, but his body was dismembered, and they've never seen it again. And there was somebody who was sent out of the consulate with a really bad disguise, trying to look like that he'd left the consulate and was somewhere, in somewhere off, away from the consulate, when in fact he never actually left the consulate at all. Anyway, U.S. intelligence had eventually come out, a report attributed to the CIA that MBS had known about it and had authorized the capture or kill thing. What Saudi's position is that these Saudi operatives had gone a little bit beyond what they were supposed to do, or gone well beyond what they were supposed to do, and that MBS did not know the particulars of it. And obviously, that's kind of the position that President Trump has taken. And frankly, in the world of diplomacy, that probably works. You know, it doesn't help U.S.-Saudi relations to keep rehashing that, because it's not going to change anything. We need Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia needs the United States. It's a very important strategic relationship, and it doesn't take away from what happened with Jamal Khashoggi, but that's just the way it is. And so I don't know what more I can really say about that. That's about it.
Khashoggi, the Khashoggi situation was looming over this meeting, but something else was looming over this meeting: the potential sales of F-35 fighter jets. This was something that you and I discussed the possibility of happening last week, Hal. We did learn that it's now confirmed that the U.S. will sell F-35s, which, by the way, are the world's most advanced fighter jets. They're going to sell them to the Saudis. The Saudis reportedly want 48 of these planes. When you and I were discussing the prospect of this happening last week, Hal, we knew that Israel wanted the sale of the F-35s to be conditioned on the Saudis normalizing relations with Israel. Do we have any level of clarity on whether or not that's actually happening?
Well, it hasn't happened. We have said, the president said today that he's going to approve the sale of 48 F-35s to Saudi Arabia. Of course, Israel is very concerned about this. There's a thing that we actually haven't written in U.S. law that says we have to maintain Israel's comparative advantage, if you will. Qualitative military edge is what we call it. It's basically that they have weapon systems that are above all their neighbors, or more advanced than all their neighbors. And so that was what actually some years back stopped the sale. We had intended to sell F-35s to the UAE, conditioned on